John Macaluso, hanging out with Monaco and having a great time, rocking in the studio. Yeah, I started playing drums. I actually wanted to play guitar first, and I was looking through the JCPenney catalog at the bra ads, and then I skipped a couple of pages and I found guitars, and I think it was a Hondo 2, and it looked like a Jimmy Page model, and I said, Ma, I need this guitar. So about 2 weeks later, we were going to get the guitar, and on the way up at the top of the block, there was a drum set for sale, gold sparkled Microsonic, and we picked it up for 20 bucks, and I said, screw the guitar. So I got my kit home, and set the beast up in the basement, and I think I might have, I pulled out Quadrophenia, The Who, on 8-track, and I kept hearing like Hawaii 5-0, and I loved Hawaii 5-0, so it was an instant connection with the drums. And from that day on, I bought a set of rototoms, and I got totally hooked. Then I went to see, my sister took me to see Styx at the Nassau Coliseum, and a band opened up called the Good Rats, and I'll never forget the drummer, out of hand, Joe Franco, and the singer with a garbage pail and a bat, and cursing, F this, F this. I said, Ma, I gotta buy this album. So she bought me the Good Rats records, and I was addicted from then on. And a year later, I was studying with Joe, no, 2 years later, studying with Joe, who became my mentor and just, one of my best friends. So the year is 1984, and I'm a Van Halen fanatic. And I start my first real band that plays out, called Chaser, Chase Her, kind of corny. Yeah, after that, I got in another band called Redline, and we got our first record deal. And they fired me from the band after we recorded the record because I didn't play like Tommy Lee, and I didn't twirl. And my excuse was, it doesn't sound good when you twirl. So, I don't know, I love Tommy Lee, but I got booted. Anyway, went to night school, graduated early, and went to PIT. And there I met Ralph Humphrey and Casey Sherrill, and all phenomenal drummers, and I really learned how to put it all together and read, and the importance of reading and writing, and I got addicted to drums. I used to practice like 12, 13 hours a day. This is a stick I started using 10 years ago. It's the Omaha Hakim stick. And the reason I started using it, I was playing with Riot in the studio, recording an album with Riot, maybe longer than 10 years ago. And stupid me forgot all my sticks. And I had like 2 pairs, and I broke them. I think I was using 5As or something, no, 5Bs. And the engineer, Rod Hoy, said, well, the only thing I got is these 2 Omaha Hakim sticks, but they're actually Omaha sticks. And I said, the Omaha Hakim sticks, I'm a big fan. So I actually took Omaha Hakim sticks, and I started using them that day, and I recorded one of the tracks. And from that day, I used those sticks. True story. When I was studying with Joe Franco, I was listening back to one of my recordings once, and I said, man, all these fills I'm doing, they're not really cutting. The beat sounds fine, but when I do the fill, the guitar is cutting out the fill. And he said, man, you gotta do a lot of hand and foot combinations. They'll always cut. Simpler on the toms, and it'll really cut. And that really stuck in my head, words of Joe Franco. And the main phrase from Joe Franco that stuck into my head, if you want to work, you got to hit the snare. So when I was with Malmsteen, he would bring in, we'd rehearse with 10 Marshalls. I mean, he literally had 5 on this side and 5 on this side. And the drums weren't mic'd. And he would go, Macaluso, hit the snare, man! And I'm going, I'm hitting the snare. So that's when I started to rim shot every beat. And I realized, okay, this works for Ingrid. Because even without the mic and the 10 Marshalls, he can hear, But it didn't work for other bands. Like, I went to some other gigs and I started to bang, and they were like, oh, what are you doing? So I had to learn to play different dynamics on a snare, really important. I'm coming out with a new drum book now. I'm finally finished with it. It's taken, since I was going to PIT to write, which is 1980, I think 86. I think a signature of a drummer is the most important thing to have. If you can turn on a record and say, that's him, that's him. I think that's so important. So I kind of based the book on that. It could be in your left foot. It could be in your hand technique. It could be the look of how you play. It could be in body motion. So I put that in the book, and then I put a CD in the book, and I have examples of drum and bass grooves, odd times. There's 5, 7, 9, 13. I have tabla rhythms. I have a lot of linear. There's linear beats and linear fills. Tasty fills. I have fills to get you to gig and fills to get you out of the band. I have cartoons. I have drummer jokes. I have, it's just a well-rounded book. It's a book on drumming as a lifestyle. The Radio Waves Goodbye. The Radio Waves Goodbye is the name of my new record. John Macaluso and Union Radio, The Radio Waves Goodbye. It's got some of my best friends and some great players. It's got James LaBrie from Dream Theater on vocals, Mike DeMeo from Riot and Masterplan on vocals. It's got Don Chaffin, the owner of the studio, on vocals. It's got Marcos Foley from James LaBrie on guitar, Randy Coben on bass, Vitaly Kupri, who's one of the greatest keyboard players I've ever met. He's on piano and keyboards. Just a great bunch of guys. And I made this record traveling all over the world. I didn't only make it here. I made the drums and a lot of the music here. And then I would take, Don, my engineer, would take the sessions and give them to me, and I would fly to another country and go do keyboards in France or go to Italy to do guitar. So it cost me a lot of bread, but I got all my favorite people on it, and I'm really proud of it. That's it. I want to thank Marco from Vic Firth and Vic Firth and all the people there. You're the best. And Don Chaffin and this great studio. And that's it. Get out of my crib.